Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as Chair of the Board, I welcome you to this December 6th, 2023 annual meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our office coordinator, Aaron Smith, will describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Aaron.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. There are multiple ways to make public comment during today's board meeting and public hearing, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet now. If you're joining us virtually, we will ask you to raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually and are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, submit a comment in the chat feature and our communications manager will help you troubleshoot. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be posted to wcroads.org in the next few days. There are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table near the front door, and it is also posted on our website. And now I'll turn it back over to Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Aaron. I just want to make a note about the annual meeting so that people are aware the board officer and liaison positions were approved a year ago. These are 2-year appointments and will be taken up for decisions a year from now at our 2024 annual meeting. So the current and continuing appointments are myself as board chair and member of the Washtenaw Area Transportation Study Policy Committee, otherwise known as WATS. Commissioner Roderick Green is the board vice chair, and he is the liaison to the Washtenaw County group of the Michigan Townships Association. And Commissioner Joanne McCollum occupies the Road Commission's statutorily designated seat as a member of the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation Commission. So with that clarification, I will call the meeting to order and ask Aaron to please call the roll.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Present.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Present.
And Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Present.
And then the following directors are in attendance: Managing Director Cheryl Siddle, Managing Director Matt Washtenaw, Director of Engineering and County Highway Engineer Brent Schlack, Director of Operations Adam Lape, and Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Thank you, Aaron. If you would join us, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Support. Any additions, deletions, any changes? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The agenda is approved as presented. Next item is a public hearing for the 2024 Washtenaw County Annual Budget, County Road Commission Annual Budget. I declare the public hearing open. And at this time, public comments are limited to the proposed 2024 annual budget. Please be aware that we'll receive public comments on all other issues during the regular public comment period a bit later in this meeting. Our office coordinator, Aaron Smith, will describe how this public hearing will proceed and how people may offer comments either in person or virtually.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we have provided some instructions on the screen on how to participate and make public comment. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand now. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Our communications manager will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time and will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments. At this time, there's no one that would like to make public comment for our public hearing.
All right. Just for reference, the proposed 2024 annual budget is in the packet. I believe if I've got this right, it starts on page 75. If there are no comments from anyone on this issue, I will declare the public hearing on the 2024 Washtenaw County Road Commission annual budget closed. Next, we have acceptance of 2 sets of minutes. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of November 21st, 2023 as presented?
So move.
Second.
The minutes appear on pages 3 through 13 for your reference. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes. The board meeting minutes of November 21st are accepted as presented. Next, may I have a motion to accept the working session minutes of November 21st, 2023 as presented, appearing on pages 14, 15, and 16 of the packet?
Make that motion to accept those minutes.
Support. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the working session minutes of November 21st are accepted as presented. Next, we have a special recognition. At this time, we'll recognize Tony Grubb's 25-year anniversary with the Washtenaw County Road Commission. And I would like to read a tribute to Tony that at the Washtenaw County Road Commission, we recognize that our employees are our greatest asset. And we are delighted to honor Tony Grubb's dedicated service and commitment to this organization. Tony's career at the Washtenaw County Road Commission started in 1998 as a heavy truck driver and then group leader for District 1 before being promoted to foreman in 2012. Tony exhibits significant knowledge, dependability, and a commitment to the area and people we serve. Tony is a valued member of our team, and his ongoing contributions are vital for the Washtenaw County Road Commission to continue to be successful in meeting our stated mission, vision, and guiding principles. In appreciation for your 20-year service, we honor you, Tony. Thank you for everything. So if we could all move to the side there for a photograph with Tony. Oh, they're getting the cameras out, yeah. What's that? Oh, why don't we do one with your crew first? How about we do that? Is that all right? You're all dressed up. You gotta take it in. Come on, come on. Come on.
Here you're on.
Can you get everyone, or do they need to turn?
They move down.
Move towards me?
Yes. Okay. She's right here. Okay.
Can you get everybody? Is it by height? Is that what you're doing there?
What do you do? They have book
Adam just wants to get off the
Yeah.
example.
You're cheating anyways.
Okay.
A little height.
Go down just a little bit. Yeah, okay. There we go.
Are they where they should be?
Here's. Okay, I'm sorry. This is where you move.
Oh, because you have to get back far and then move.
Wow. I'm in a mess. Okay, turn in some. Turn in some.
Turn sideways. There you go. Side.
I'm just trying to make sure you don't have.
Sorry, Tiffany.
I was
Be honest, in all fairness, Tiffany had to ask earlier, and I said, not necessarily.
All right.
We get
You don't want those yet. I am very, there we go. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. Okay, next group.
Nice.
Stay right here, Tony.
No, I'm.
Thank you.
Oh, Brian's going for it, I think. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brian. Yeah.
Sarah, where are you gonna be?
All right. You're all right.
Step on your dad.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get it out.
Well,
All right, here, shake my hand.
okay. 3, 2. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. I take a whole bunch of time. Yeah.
One of your younger problems later?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, thank you.
Thank you.
There were some things. Oh, they're okay? Okay.
Thank you for telling me.
I just never noticed them before.
Yeah.
Did they get a plaque or something? Or?
A $250 gift certificate to Lewis Jewelers. We used to give them watches that we picked out and gave to them, but reached a point, I don't know what year we changed
Congratulations.
the gift thing.
A few years ago when somebody said, I don't really want to watch, can I
Oh.
do something different? And so, yep.
So rather than sending them to a pawn shop.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
changed our procedure. Well, that was kind of fun. All right. Let's move on to public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Erin will explain for the third time today how people may be recognized to offer comment to the board.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we have provided some instructions on the screen on how to participate and make public comment. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand now. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Our communications manager will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time and will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments. And then for our in-person attendees, we will start with those who have signed up on the sign-in sheet as you walked in. If you didn't sign in, you're still welcome to make comment. At this time, there's no in-person or virtual attendees that would like to make comment.
All right, thank you, Erin. We will then move along to written communications appearing on pages 17 and 18 of the packet. Commissioners, anything you wish to draw our attention to? Seeing none, we will move on. Since there was no public comment, we will bypass that agenda item and move right along to the new business consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 4 with background on pages 19 through 34.
I so move. Second.
Any questions, commissioners, on anything in particular there? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brett Fuller.
Yes. The consent agenda is approved as presented. Next, we have 4 action items. May I have a motion to approve action item number 1, to approve the 2023 year-end budget amendments as presented. The background appears on pages 35 through 71. The motion itself is on page 23.
Madam Chair,
Please.
that upon the recommendation of the Director of Finance and IT and the concurrence of the Managing Director, the board hereby approves the 2023 year-end budget amendments as presented. I support.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any questions before we hand it over to Dan? Take it away, Mr. Ackerman.
Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. So as we stated at our working session, if there were any significant changes from the working session for the 2023 budget, that we would communicate that with the board. And there were a few that we just want you to be aware of. It was already in the write-ups. Hopefully you've had a chance to look that over. Just want to touch briefly on those and see if you have any questions on those or anything else. You're well aware that we received $4.5 million from the Protecting Michigan Pension Grant. Initially, because the money went directly to MERS, we thought it didn't need to run through our books because we weren't actually receiving the money and then depositing it with MERS and so on. Probably a day or two after the board meeting, There was a listserv question. The CRA has listservs for finance directors and engineers. And there was a listserv, actually not a question, more just some helpful information that, by the way, the 4.5 or the Protecting Michigan Pension Grant needs to go through the Road Commission's books. It needs to hit your budget. We actually have been in touch with our auditors. There's a bit of a question still that remains. And this actually came from a road commission that has a September 30th year end. And so obviously time was really of the essence for them. They reached out to several state agencies to receive guidance, state treasury, state audit, kind of crickets for a while, which is a little disappointing because this has been out for, months or maybe even a year ago around this time, we started hearing some things about the potential for this grant. But there's never any direction that was provided. And so finally, the direction was provided that we need to basically recognize this as a revenue. And just, it's with all of our other federal aid revenue. And then there's a corresponding increase to our expenditures for our pensions. So basically, it's a wash as far as fund balance and everything, but $4.5 million, we want to make sure that we account for it in our budget. So that is one change that we had to make. I still haven't received final clarification yet on this. Our auditors are still actually looking into this a little bit. Conservatively, you would include it in your budget, and if they say you don't have to, then you're fine. But if we don't include it, and they say you need to include it, then, for instance, our budget would show that our federal aid revenues were, under by 4.5 million if everything else came in right where we budgeted, and the same with our expenditures. So we made the decision to make the adjustment now. I ended up calling the road commission. It was actually Benzie County Road Commission up north that had the posting, and they had reached out to, like I said, finally somebody at the state level provided some direction, and we felt it was important to include it before the final approved budget. So it's kind of a long explanation, but any other questions on that at all? Okay, and it's similar, for a lot of our road projects, we receive grants. We don't necessarily receive the grant money, but we still have to account for it by recognizing it as a revenue with a corresponding expenditure. So once I thought of it in those terms, it made a little more sense to me. So, but anyway, it's a significant change. So we wanted to make sure we communicated that. Again, no impact on the fund balance though.
Okay.
So if there's no other questions on that, just wanted to bring to your attention in capital outlay in the departmental budget. Initially, we had the salt barn costs in the buildings line item, which is 975. But we should really have that in yard and storage because it's kind of an outbuilding. Buildings is more for like our administrative building and like your main facility. Again, no impact on the bottom line. It's just an accounting thing, but we wanted to make sure we're being consistent with how some of the other salt barns were treated, the capital purchases. But it is significant. So again, we wanted to just bring it to the board's attention. Any questions on that?
But you just moved it. You didn't.
We just moved it from line item 975 to 979.
That's on page 23, folks, of the pen.
And finally, this did have a very minor impact on the budget for 2023. The numbers that we went over with the board at the working session were preliminary. We hadn't finalized the books for that month. I hadn't closed the books through October. So once I did, there were some changes in revenues and expenditures, and we actually ended up decreasing our deficit spending by about $27,000. There are some monthly accounts receivables that we hadn't accounted for yet. So some slight changes, but it is different than what we provided to the board. So again, wanted to communicate that to you.
So does this 14.7 million and 16% change or not?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Nope, and that's really the significant changes, so not all that significant, but again, I thought it was important enough to communicate it with the board. As you're looking at everything, I think those are like the biggest differences. So I don't know if there's any questions on those changes or, you know, the budget in general for 2023. Any other questions on that?
I don't see anything. It worked this over pretty well in our.
Yeah,
working
true.
session.
No, it was a great working
Good
session.
discussion,
Certainly,
yeah.
we covered a
Yeah.
lot of ground, so.
Okay. Nothing further for Dan or nothing further for us from Dan. If you would please call the roll, Aaron.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes. The 2023 year-end budget amendments are approved as presented. Next, may I have a motion to approve item number 2, to approve the 2024 board meeting schedule. The background appears on pages 72 and 73. The motion itself appears on page 23.
Madam Chair. I move the board hereby adopts the 2024 board meeting schedule, which will take place on the first and third Tuesday of each month at 1 p.m. unless otherwise noted.
Support?
Second.
Thank you. I just want to point out, there are 2 Wednesday meetings in 2024 to accommodate the 2024 County Road Association's annual meeting in March, and then also the December annual legal issues forum. Which is why we're meeting Wednesday this month instead of Tuesday. So just be mindful of those as you enter them in your calendars. Any other comments or questions about the 2024 board meeting schedule? All right, Aaron, if you'd please call the roll.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes. The 2024 board meeting schedule is approved as presented. Next, may I have a motion to approve action item number 3, to approve the 2024 annual budget as presented. The background on pages 74 through 107. The motion itself is on page 24.
Madam Chair, that upon the recommendation of the Director of Finance and IT and the concurrence of Managing Director, the board hereby approves the 2024 Washtenaw County Road Commission annual budget as presented. It is understood that the proposed 2024 budget supports 136 full-time equivalent positions.
Support.
Any discussion or questions for Dan? Anything for us from Dan?
Dan Ackerman, again, Director of Finance and IT. There were no significant changes from what was presented to the board at the working session for 2024. So I just wanted to make that statement. So really everything you're looking at is the same, with the exception of there are some numbers from 2023 that show up in those budget documents. And I already kind of shared with you some of the changes for those. But besides that, there were no changes for 2024.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything further, commissioners? Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the 2024 annual budget is approved as presented.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And to all of your crew for getting these documents pulled together. May I have a motion to approve action item number 4, to approve the 2024 working session schedule, the background on pages 108, 109. The motion itself appears on page 24.
Madam Chair. The board hereby approves the 2024 working session schedule to be held at approximately 9 a.m. on the 3rd Tuesday of each month unless otherwise noted.
Thank you.
Support.
I'm just making sure I didn't make any notes about that schedule. I think we're good. Okay. Anything, commissioners? No. Aaron, if you would please.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, the 2024 working session schedule is approved as presented. We will move on to reports. Ms. Tiffany, do we have any county commissioners with us today? Thank you. We'll move then next to the report of the road commissioners, starting with Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the 27th of November, I completed the cybersecurity training. On November 29th, I attended a chat session. There were no attendees. On December 1st, I attended a meeting of SimCorp, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. And on December 4th and 5th, I attended the County Road Association Conference in Mount Clemens. And I attended the meeting with the negotiating committee and the legal symposium. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Smurs?
On November 22nd, I attended chats. We had two people join. The first gentleman was concerned about Noble Road, part of Luddite Township. It is a local road, so there wasn't a whole lot that could be done from our end. But it is in bad shape is what he wanted to express. The second person joined and then never said or turned on their camera, so we're not sure what happened. They just left. So that concludes my report.
Okay. Commissioner McCollum?
Yes, Madam Chair. I completed the cybersecurity training. On November 28th, I attended the Ypsilanti Township Parks and Recreation Plan public comment meeting. And on December 5th, I attended the 9th Annual Legal Issues Symposium, What's New with the Classics. The symposium covered county transportation infrastructure law and how investing in good policy now can pay dividends in the future, followed by a deep dive into the incoming 1.5 billion in broadband equity access and deployment dollars, and how broadband equity access and deployment grant will affect the right-of-way. On December 5th, I also attended the Crisis at the Road Agency Conference. Crisis at the Road Agency offered a dynamic learning experience focused on crisis management at the County Road Agency. I engaged in real-time exercises designed to enhance crisis response skills and equip participants with practical tools to navigate crisis situations, ensuring safety and resilience at the Washtenaw County Road Agency. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Yamas?
No report.
Very good. I will report that on November 14th, I attended a joint meeting of the Washtenaw County Road Commission and the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation Commission to seek clarification regarding if and when the Board of Commissioners will consider placing the Renew and Restore Roads and non-motorized millage before the voters. We have communicated with the Board of Commissioners on October 3rd, October 5th, and October 18th about our concern, either with the Board of Commissioners or the county administrator. On that same day, in that same joint session, Administrator Dill was asked about the October 18th, 2023 County Revenue White Paper that he had issued. There were concerns expressed because the document suggests the consolidation of the 8 existing countywide millage into one combined county millage. It was noted that the 2023 winter tax bills roll 7 of those millages together into a county combined line item, which is a change from the 2022 winter tax bills where the millages were itemized. On December 1st, I attended the visitation for the late Bill McFarlane, recently deceased and former valued member of this Washtenaw County Road Commission Board. I want to commend the team members who participated in no less than 5 holiday parades this past weekend in the cities of Manchester, where the driver was Bob Humbarger, in Dexter City, where the driver was Brian Negebauer, in Chelsea City, where the driver was Brian Trinkley, in Saline City, where the driver was Hunter Wells, and in Milan City, where the driver was Harold Rothman. Community events such as these are an important demonstration of our commitment to building relationships with our community partners, and I want to thank those who helped decorate our trucks. I hope we get to see pictures. and then take time to make them beautiful, as well as taking time out of their weekends to drive them in those parades. Lastly, I wish to recognize and commend Commissioner McCollum on her perfect attendance for this 2023 calendar year. She's we all seek to admire. And then the very last thing I want to point out, which is not as celebratory, that on November 19th in Oakland County, there was a traffic flagger who was injured in the line of duty, further emphasizing that there really is a need for people to be aware and for our workers to always be vigilant and careful, both for themselves and for their coworkers. Does anyone know how he's doing? Has anyone heard? Okay, moving along, we will proceed to the managing director reports, staff reports, and any updates for the road commission. The staff reports appear on pages 110 through 119. Directors.
All right, I'll start by asking if you have any questions about the staff report or any of the information provided. All right. Other than that, staff has obviously been very busy, finalizing the budget. You know, kudos to Dan Ackerman and to his staff on putting all of that together. And Tiffany Oliphant and the communications team, especially Aaron Smith, on putting that actually into a format that is easy to understand for everybody. That actually is somewhat of a heavier lift than one would think, but I guess that's the reason why we do all of that, right? To make it look easy. The other thing that we've been working on is the annual report. So I know that Tiffany sent that off to the printers. We're looking for a proof here shortly so that we can have that out by the end of the year.
Good.
So that's what we have been busy with. I will be happy to turn it over to Matt Washtenaw.
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners. I didn't have anything else to report. Thank you, Cheryl. Covered things, and so I'll welcome up our Director of Operations, Adam Lake.
Good afternoon, Adam Lake, Director of Operations. Although winter's fast approaching and my updates are a bit abbreviated, routine maintenance does continue throughout the county, and preparatory work for 2024 resumed after a few little bits of winter weather that we had to manage there. It's a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday evening, and then a Monday midday we were finished. Little events just to kind of knock the dust off the salt spreaders, I guess, at that point. The operations team this week, they're preparing and they've started the 2024 estimating process. So we can try to get our estimates to the townships a little earlier this year, and hopefully as soon as townships recognize their 2024 budget, they'll be able to allocate some funds to road funding, and off we go. So trying to move things up a few weeks, about a 2 or 3 week head start than normal. So just
Great.
new process. In the material storage building, that construction continues. Concrete paving, they had a few favorable days, so concrete paving adjacent to the building entrances where the material will be loaded. That was completed, so that's under a blanket, maintaining warmth and curing. So they'll start next week. If weather isn't that good, they'll start next week with the actual timber walls. And then the roof truss will be delivered this week, and we may have some deliveries there by now already today, but the site's a little wet today, so they're trying to limit their footprint right now, so we don't affect any of the grade that we've prepared for the concrete. And that is my update, unless there are any other questions.
See anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Next up is Brent Schlack, Director of Engineering.
Hello, good afternoon, Brent Schlack, Director of Engineering. I really don't have a heck of a lot. We're continuing to work on 2024 projects. We have a few that we've submitted and for upcoming lettings through the MDOT process. We did have one project that I brought up a few meetings ago, the North Territorial Dexter Town Hall project, where we're getting prepared for the pre-con for that. We will have work starting over the winter for some tree removal, and then that project will get rolling in the spring. Other than that, like I said, staff's just working on trying to get projects pushed out for our upcoming season. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. And Mr. Ackerman.
Good afternoon again, Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. Just wanted to thank the board for your confidence and approval of both budgets. And as a reminder, we are technically not allowed to, the road commission is technically not allowed to open our doors if there's no approved budget for the next year. So definitely thank you for that. I think the process is working well, and certainly if there's any changes that you'd like to see, definitely let us know. Because as good as it is, it can always be improved. But definitely thank you for everything that you've done and your great questions that we had at the working session. And, I feel pretty good about both budgets.
Good.
So if you want to go to the last page of your packet, we'll talk Michigan Transportation Funds. So October of 2023 was actually up 18% from October of 2022. If you recall, when we talked about the September Michigan Transportation Funds, they were down and there was a timing issue. And we were told the timing issue would be made up for in October, which apparently it has. Definitely difficult to budget for, with 18% higher in October, 6% lower in September. From month to month, there's just such fluctuations. You have to look at 12 months, you look at the state projections and so on. For the year, we're up 6% compared to last year. And so again, I'm feeling pretty good about the numbers. There'd have to be a significant drop off in November and December to go below our budget, which I don't foresee that, but time will tell. I definitely, we try not to have knee-jerk reactions, oh boy, it's up 18% in October compared to last year. Maybe we should increase our budget projections, or I'm looking at the long-term forecast and it seems fairly mild. Maybe we should reduce some of our winter calculations, but again, it's Michigan, things could change. I found it best to just try and hold the line with all the information we have and just see where we end up. So, and that's what we're doing. And then finance is working on our year-end processes. We have our final payroll of 2023 coming up in a couple weeks. Hard to believe. Trying to process all of our 2023 bills. We get those finalized for our audit, which usually takes place the end of January. So we're definitely hopping in finance. For IT, thank you to the commissioners and all the employees. Everyone met our deadline of December 1 to complete their cybersecurity training, so that was great. Was curious if the board had any comments about the training. Did you like it? Was the format good? Was it too involved? Was it too easy, too difficult? I'm just curious if the board has any comments on that at all.
Commissioner Smers, Commissioner McCullough, everybody else,
Yeah.
we'll just go around the horseshoe.
I thought the training was good. It's just now has me questioning every email I get now, but that's my only comment.
But that's good, right? You're on high alert, which you should be, right? All the users should be on high alert.
It seemed like it was easier, but I think it's because we've been doing it on a regular basis.
Okay, yeah.
And that's why you can't just do it one time and you're fine.
Mhm.
You need to be doing this consistently. So
Yes.
thank you for
Yep.
making that happen.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Green?
I thought it was very good. I also thought that it reinforced some of the training that we previously received. I thought it was an excellent presentation.
Gloria?
So I want to echo everybody else, but I thought it was a little sneaky. Some of the questions were a little sneaky. I'm
Sure.
like, wait a minute. But it did raise even more awareness. I think everything's like, is this phishing or is this junk or, yeah. So you're probably getting a lot more. The IT department's getting a lot more phishing junk and they can
Awesome.
sort it out. I don't have to, right?
Right.
Great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the feedback and a lot of good feedback from staff as well. And it's hard to make things like that interesting, but I think the format and how they kind of change things around makes it a little more interesting than, you know, just some sort of person just talking to you and answering questions and so on. So I think they do a nice job, for sure. Also with IT, on November 28th, there was a kickoff meeting for the Windows 11 testers. And that went really well. Chris led the meeting and kind of said what to expect, how to schedule your upgrades, and kind of showed some of the differences, which again are fairly minor, but just, you know, what to look for. And we actually have had a couple of folks have already gone through the upgrades, and there haven't been a whole lot of issues at this point, which is good.
So when are we going to have to, I mean, are those going to be pushed out to us, or are we? gonna
Eventually,
pick
right.
those Up when we?
Yes. Yep. So again, we're looking at testers. The
Okay,
testers is a nice cross section of the organization. So we have some folks that use RoadSoft, Precision, which is our financial system. You know, we want to touch all this various software to see if there's going to be compatibility issues or any problems with it. So, and then once we get through the testing phase, then I'm sure there'll be another schedule for, you know, implementing everybody else.
okay. Gloria, did you have a question? No?
That you asked the question.
It's like, when is it coming?
Right, yes, well, definitely there'll be lots of heads up prior to it.
Okay,
On November 29th, we had our third-party cybersecurity audit by Real IT. They basically, there were 4 computers that were used to try to penetrate our system. And happy to report that 3 of the 4 computers, it quarantined. You know, what they're trying to do is it quarantined it, except for conference room 234. So basically, there were 3 employee computers, and then the conference room was tested as well. So we're looking into why you know, it made it through for conference room 234. But the fact that our user computers, that it successfully quarantined the scan is good. As an added bonus, Applied Innovation, our managed service provider, also said, hey, there's this unusual program we're seeing. You know, is this okay, or is this a potential attack on our network? So, and they knew about it, but not everybody knew about it. And the fact that they also were alerted to this and alerted us was kind of like a double check, which is great. So there'll be a report we'll receive on this. And I'm also looking forward to sharing that with our auditors, because they're always asking us about, you know, our IT and, you know, the strength of our network, and do we have proper controls in place. So we're looking forward to seeing that report as well. But we felt overall that, you know, the systems we have in place are working fine.
so what happened in conference room 234?
So basically, I was able to go all the way through the
Ah.
program, right? And, you know, it's a conference room as opposed to you know, someone's computer. So it's a little bit different, but we wanted to see why that happened and what can be done to stop that in the future.
So I guess I thought the conference rooms then would be talking to our server just like we do, no?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I think there's, yeah. Like I said, when we get the report, we'll share more information with you.
Huh, okay.
But definitely the user computers are a higher level of concern.
Sure.
So,
Okay,
okay, any questions? Any other questions? Okay, great, thank you.
Cheryl? Pardon me?
Commissioner Light joined us.
Oh, all right. Managing Director Cheryl Siddle pointed out that Commissioner Crystal Light has joined us. I'm going to take point of personal privilege and ask Crystal if there's anything you'd like to share with us or questions you would like to ask of us.
Hello, good afternoon. I do not have any questions, and please excuse my tardiness. as I was finishing up a meeting, but I don't have any questions, just joining in as this is the BOC's last meeting of the year. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was here and also here to represent both myself and Commissioner Sanders in her absence. So just wishing you all well, and it's good to be here.
Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Light? Oh, I think we're all set. Okay. Anything further from either of you? No? Okay. I just want to note that we have our annual meeting on the first meeting in December in case we have a weather event on the second meeting of December, because we want Dan to be able to pay the bills and to make sure that we have an approved budget in time for the end of the year. So if someone says, well, that's not your last meeting, why are you doing all this? That's why. Our final meeting of this year occurs on December 19th at 1 o'clock. That's back on a Tuesday. Please note that the 9 a.m. working session has been canceled. We have virtual chat sessions, and I'm going to take us through the end of the month on these today. Every Wednesday from noon to 1, we have our chat. Tomorrow, December 13th, I'm sorry, is Commissioner McCollum. Who's tomorrow, am I? I didn't put that in here.
Today is Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. That's why I'm goofed up. Thank you, everybody. December 13th, Commissioner McCollum. December 20th is my turn in the seat. December 27th, the chat session has been canceled because it's so close to the Christmas holiday. In 2024, our first chat session will be on January 3rd, and I will cover that. Is that our first board meeting too? And we have a board meeting that day. So January 3rd, everybody, mark your calendars and be ready to get back at it. Anything further? Any announcements or questions? Commissioner Smers.
So this is the first time that I've gone through the next year's budget. And I gotta say, at the working session, your staff and you guys did a great job. When I went through it before this meeting, I fully understood everything. I didn't have questions. They had all been answered. So great job. That's all I have.
Thanks very much.
I think our crew does an exceptional job with sharing information and creating a sense of transparency. And this is all going to be posted on the website, right? Okay, after it's approved today. Great. All right. If there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Aaron, if you would, please.
Commissioner Jess Smers,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. See you all on the 19th at 1 o'clock.